Got a hold of a free Blackstone griddle. A neighbor was giving it away. I scooped it up and I'm going to try to restore it to some kind of usable condition. You can see on this side of the griddle top, I've already restored this side, and this side remains to be restored. I also want to clean up some rust areas. I'll prepare this for paint. And to do this job, I have some soap, olive oil for seasoning later. You can also use avocado oil or a high smoke point oil. Pumice stone, safety glasses. This is an angle grinder with a wire brush. You might also try some sandpaper, either sanding by hand or with a power sander. I already pressure washed this Blackstone. That step's optional. I'll use a scraper tool and now begin to remove some of the surface rust. From here, to remove the rust from this griddle top, you can use a number of tools. The sander, pumice stone. The most aggressive option is likely this. I'm going to go ahead with this wire brush on an angle grinder. Link in the description below to get your own setup. So let's get started. After using the wire brush, the griddle top is already looking far better. Out of curiosity, I'm going to use some coarse grit sandpaper to see if I can clean this up any more. So the sander did clean this up a little bit more. I don't know if it's really necessary to use the sandpaper, but I did. And also out of curiosity, I'm gonna try the pumice stone here. So I'll wet this a bit with water and begin scraping away at this grill top with the pumice stone. If nothing else, the pumice stone does get into the corners really well. And the pumice stone did help a little bit. Necessary, I don't know. I probably could have gotten away with just the wire wheel for a quick and dirty job. Let's clean this up with some water and see how it looks. And before the seasoning, I'm going to apply some soap to this griddle. You later do not want to use soap. That's going to remove the seasoning from the griddle. But before the seasoning, you can clean up the griddle with some soap. I'll now heat up the Blackstone to dry it off fully. I'm going to begin the griddle seasoning process now. The griddle's dry and I'll apply some vegetable oil. It's best to actually use a different kind of oil, not vegetable oil. You want to look for avocado oil or canola oil. And I'm going to push around that oil with a paper towel, fully covering the griddle. I'll then reignite the griddle, heating up this oil, and in fact burning it off entirely. I'll let this griddle begin smoking. Eventually the griddle is going to stop smoking, at least all the oil will be burned off, and then I'm going to apply a second coat of oil and do this maybe 3 or 4 times. Eventually the griddle top is going to reach a pretty even black color. At that point my griddle is fully seasoned and ready for use. It's a bit difficult to see right now, but that grill is definitely smoking. Now the reason you're going to season the griddle is to keep food from sticking to the griddle top. This is like non-stick coating on a pan. Additionally, the seasoning prevents rust from building up due to humidity or water on this metal surface. It's dark here, so it's becoming a bit difficult to see. The grill has largely stopped smoking, so we're gonna apply our second coat of seasoning. I'll apply the vegetable oil directly to the top here and push it around with a paper towel. This creates a thin layer of oil and thus continues the polymerization process, or the process of making this griddle non-stick. I'm causing this oil to create a physical bond to the steel itself. That smoke is rolling off, so you can tell I did not let the grill cool between the seasoning coats. The grill top is darker still, so let's finish off with our third coat. That's looking real nice. Some of the corners might not want to darken up too easily, so you can hit those with a blowtorch. Try to get that to a temperature that you can also season these edges. This Blackstone griddle top is now nicely seasoned. Now we're going to restore this Blackstone a little bit more. To do that, we're going to use rust neutralizer, and we're going to prepare all these rusty areas for some paint. To do that, you can use a scraper sander with 50 grit sandpaper or this wire brush, and you're going to scrape off any rusty, loose metal. The pressure washer already did a lot of work for me, but some loose paint and rust still remains. Now, clean the Blackstone, you can use compressed air, a vacuum, or water. The griddle has now dried, so I'm going to apply the first coat of the rust neutralizer. Apply 2 coats, each 20 minutes apart from one another. All these rust spots are going to turn black, and this prepares those surfaces for a new coat of paint. It was important when preparing these surfaces not to remove all of the rust, only the rust and metal that was flaking off. This rust neutralizer is meant to be applied to rust. If you apply it to a completely perfect clean steel, it will rust the steel. Applying this material instead to some rust, it converts the rust into a material that can easily be painted over with a protective coating. The first coat of rust neutralizer has dried about 15 minutes. I want to apply the second coat before 20 minutes lapses. I took off the griddle top and found that I have to clean up this area. So I'll come back later and scrape up all of this peeling paint and metal. In the meantime, let's get the second coat across the entire grill. It's been 24 hours now since the rust converter's been applied to the rusty metal. All the rusty metal is now black in color, and we're ready now for some paint. You can also, instead of paint, just apply yet another coat of the rust converter. But we are going to use some paint. It's important that you use an enamel, an oil-based paint, not a latex that doesn't work after applying the rust converter. I'm also using a high heat paint, as some of these parts might become rather hot when in use. This final finish will not be perfect, but it's going to be a whole lot better than it was before. Also hit the grease catcher with new paint. It's been about 20 minutes, so I'll hit this grill with one more coat of paint. And it's Sunday morning before church. We're getting ready to use this grill for one of the first times ever. We got our breakfast ready with eggs and toast. The grill's looking really good, not perfect, and it doesn't need to look perfect. I don't see rust everywhere. It's functional. I got the oil heating. This is perfect. So let's get to cooking. Toast this bread. All right, well, I burnt the eggs a little bit, but this is good enough for my first time. Let's get to eating. And tonight, we're doing smash burgers. I have very much been enjoying this Blackstone griddle. I've made a number of meals on it already, and for the price, practically free, sitting alongside the road, and then $30 in supplies to clean it up. It's been well worth the investment. The paint's not holding up perfectly, but it's far better than it was. Definitely good enough. And one more thing, now that we got this griddle all cleaned up, it's important to keep it cleaned up. I'll do that by keeping a cover on it when not in use and keeping that griddle top well oiled to prevent rust. I hope this helps you with your project.